Last year, you'll remember, if you were watching my videos, of course, that I was having a lot of trouble with the truck, and I was trying to fix it on my own, and I got to a point where I was just giving up. So I called a mechanic to schedule an appointment, and I had it scheduled for, you know, like Thursday of next week or something. And I wanted to try something else. And so it was like a Monday that I realized I wanted to try something else, but it was a holiday. I remember it being a holiday. I don't remember what it was, but anyway, they weren't there. But I called and left a message to let them know that I was canceling the appointment because I wanted to make sure they had plenty of time to reschedule my time slot. I just couldn't stand the idea of letting the guy sit there for an hour waiting for me, having a time slot not filled. But I must be the only person in the world that actually thinks this way. So this guy with this mower here, he calls me and says, yeah, I got this mower that I need some spindles put on. Now, it's actually a pretty nice mower. There's not a lot that's wrong with it. It's missing a hanger on the deck. That's probably 10, 15 bucks. It needs 2 new blades, which, you know, that's just maintenance item. And it needs an inner tube. Other than that, it runs absolutely great. It starts right up. So it's not a bad mower. So anyway, he calls and says, yeah, I'm going to be there like on a Friday. So let's say he called on a Tuesday. I'm going to be there on Friday, and I'm trying really hard to get people to give me a time they're going to be here so I can schedule pickup and deliveries. And not only that, that means I don't have to sit around waiting and seeing if this guy's going to show up all day. I can say, okay, well, it was, you know, he said he was going to be here at noon and he didn't show up, so I can go do other things. If he shows up now, that's his own fault. He should have messaged. Or I can at least send a message saying, hey, you missed your appointment, whatever. So anyway, he didn't show up. Well, I didn't really care about it. I mean, I lose customers like that a lot. And I don't know why. As a matter of fact, this mower over here, he called 3 weeks ago asking for an alignment on his tracking, and he never showed up. But now he's come in with a completely different issue. So it's not like he was dissatisfied. I didn't show up for whatever reason. So I don't worry about that too much. So anyway, I put the spindles on, and I messaged him, and I always call. I send a text message. That's kind of the receipt. I don't have to have paper. And so it's a text message. It's permanent. So then, and it also shows, the text message to me is actually better than a piece of paper. I can hand you a piece of paper, you wad it up and throw it away, and then I don't have any way to prove to the judge that I actually handed you a piece of paper. But if I send a text message, there's proof that I sent it. So I text him, let him know what it's going to cost. And I said, equipment left here longer than 2 weeks may incur an additional charge. It's not a lot. I mean, you know, some people will charge $20 a day. Well, I'll just tell you what it is. I don't think it's that big of a deal that I tell you. I just use it as a encouragement to come pick up your mower. But what I say is you may incur a $20 storage fee. And I figure $20 is pretty good. You know, after 2 weeks, I can stick it behind the camper, forget about it, and go down there every now and then and just start up the mowers. Just so, you know, you run some gas through them. And, you know, so I make 20 bucks off of it. Yeah, I figure that's a... Anyway, so I figure that's that's something I can handle. But it's a lot better than them sitting around and I wasn't getting paid anything for the last 2 years. So I call him and let him know And I couldn't get a hold of him. That's usually the case. You can't get a hold of people. That's why I think the text messages are so important. Well, later he replies to the text message, okay, thank you. But that was it. So I think the next day, so that was last Thursday. So I think on Friday he calls and says that he'll be here Wednesday. So that's today at 10 o'clock. Well, he's not here. It's noon now. So it's quite obvious he isn't going to show up. So I send him a text message and I say, got on my schedule that you were supposed to be here at 10 o'clock. And, you know, let me know when the next date you'll be here, what time, so I can schedule pickup and deliveries. Because that's so important. I mean, it's just, imagine if I had someone call today and said, hey, I need you to pick up my mower. Well, I can't do it today. I'm waiting on a guy. And he never shows up. So anyway, he messages back right away. He says, I'll be here Friday at noon. Well, I mean, I don't have any faith. He's missed his appointment twice now. Why would he keep this appointment? And the thing is when he showed up, he didn't even have an appointment. And he doesn't live close by. That's what's really strange. So he drove all this way at risk of me not being here, knowing that I have pickup and deliveries. I'm trying to arrange this so the people will know that I'm doing work. That I don't think you take your car to a mechanic and just expect him to be there to drop it off. I think they expect you to have an appointment. I mean, you may tow something in, and I get that, but this is a lawnmower. You don't need anything towed in. I think appointments are kind of a good idea. Or at least call and say, hey, can I come over today? Yeah, that'll work. I think that's a good idea. I don't know. I don't understand people. I also don't understand this philosophy. Over the winter, well, I guess back in March, you may remember, and this has happened several times, somebody went to an auction and bought a tiller, 1980 something tiller, like 1986 tiller. It was a rear tine tiller for 25 bucks. And she went into this long story about she was bidding against her uncle, and she finally told her uncle, knock it off, because she wanted it for gardening. And I've actually have been warned about this, that you got to watch out for these people. They'll pick up lawnmowers on the side of the road and then bring them to you and want you to fix them for next to nothing. Years ago, I had a lawnmower somebody gave me. It didn't run. It was a push mower, and I took it in the mechanic. Because I didn't have the ability to get parts at that time. I mean, this was years ago, way back when I just got out of the Navy, so I didn't have a lot of tools or anything. So anyway, I took it in the mechanic, and I called him the next week and said, what's the status on that mower? He says, it's not worth fixing. So I thought that was kind of like, wow. Okay, do I get my mower back? What I didn't know. But anyway, I never got that back. So where was I going with this? Oh, so, I mean, this lady, she brings this over. So I know that people do this, that they'll just drop off junk. And, I could be like that mechanic that treated me like that. It's not worth fixing. No explanation, like, did you actually look at it, or are you just saying that because it's an old lawnmower? I could have done that. But I did. I looked at it. I knew better. I shouldn't have. It was old flathead, and she said the pull rope, and I figured it was locked up, so I figured this is going to be a no-brainer. But it turned out it was the rope was, the spring had broke, and it was getting jammed up, so you couldn't pull it. But the bigger problem is that there was metal flakes and oil. It was burning up. It wouldn't have lasted another day of good tilling. So I call her up and I tell her that that it's shot. And she doesn't seem to care about that. She still cares about the rope. And I said, well, I can't find a part for the rope. The rope has pulled out. And she says, but it was working before. She was implying that I broke the rope. And I said, no, it wasn't. The last time you tried to pull it, it was stuck. No, the time before that, it worked. So, I mean, I couldn't replace the part. I couldn't fix it. So anyway, she's all upset. And but that was my final straw with old equipment. I'm just not going to work on it anymore. But some guy called me yesterday. 1986 John Deere. It's ancient. I mean, these things are antiques. Think about this. These are things that you'd want. I was even discussing this yesterday. When I was a kid, I had a wheel horse. Loved that wheel horse. My dad gave it to me. Him and I put it together. There was some engine issues with it. We put it together. And then my grandpa and I kind of held it together. Oh, I love that thing. Well, I sold it. I don't remember why. I regret selling it. I mean, I was 11 years old, so. But I regret selling it. Always have. So, I've always thought about getting another one. But if I got a wheel horse today, and I refurbished it, of course, the parts would be a nightmare to get. I mean, you'd be calling California or Ontario, Canada. I mean, it would be difficult to find parts for this thing. But you wouldn't be doing it to get yourself a lawnmower. You'd be doing it as a hobby, a restoration project. I restored a 1980 John Deere not long ago, last year. I think it was last year. Maybe it was 2 years ago. No, it was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I restored a John Deere. And it's the icon on my other channel. That's the John Deere. And I did it because it was fun, and I sold the lawnmower. So, you know, the restoration projects is kind of different than a, trying to fix something up for a customer. But he has this 1980-something John Deere, and he's and you could tell that it was a manipulation. He knew what he had. He knew that he had an old piece of junk. So he started out with, hey, do you sharpen blades? Yeah, I sharpen blades. He says, good, I got a John Deere 240. And he just starts rambling on. He says, I need the blade sharpened. And then he goes into, and I'm trying to interrupt him. I'm trying to ask him how old it is. But he won't let me interrupt him. So I'm just sitting there listening. And he says, well, it also could use the tune-up. And, like, okay, well, now he wants an oil change. And, okay, so sharpening the blades and the oil change and all that, that's under one package. I do a service. And then he says, and this morning I was on it, and I tried to start it, and it just stopped. Like the battery cable just popped off or something. Okay, so now you have an electrical issue. On a 1986 John Deere. He knew what he was doing. He was trying to make it sound like, oh, that's no big deal. I can fix that. Oh, I can do that. And then, oh, yeah, just, a battery cable. And so I say, is it older than a 2000? Well, yeah, I guess so. Well, I mean, I was Googling it. I knew how old it was while he was sitting there talking. 1986. Oh, I guess so. You don't guess, you know. So I said, well, I'm not allowed to work on mowers that old. Now, I said it that way because I don't allow myself to work on it. I said, you just can't find parts, and you end up buying parts from a guy from eBay, and it might be a used part, it might not even work, you don't know. And he says, well, it doesn't need parts, I just need the blade sharpened and serviced and getting this thing started up. How do you know it doesn't need parts? You don't know what's caused the problem. I mean, I'm sure the battery cable didn't just fall off, and if it did, then I need a battery cable. But, so I said, no, I can't work on it. So, well, who can work on it? I said, well, you can call John Deere down in this town. He says, well, that's a half hour away. Will they pick it up? I don't know. Oh, okay. Well, I know they don't. They're not going to work on it. What they're going to do is they'll quote him $1,000. And of course, the guy isn't going to spend that kind of money on an old lawnmower like that. But that's what they expect. They expect that they're gonna buy an old piece of junk and you're gonna come fix it up for them. I mean, I see it all the time. I just see it in their eyes. Got a call over the winter. And I knew exactly what they were doing. They were in the car, talking on the speakerphone, and they're yelling at me, both of them. And they got this log splitter, 2 chainsaws, and this and that. You know, they went to an auction, they picked up all this junk. And I said, you know, I'm just not interested in this job. You know, they were waiting on, that's when it was, they were waiting on taxes, their tax refund. And I mean, even Carolyn raised her eyes on that, like, oh boy. So they'd had that tax refund spent before I got everything fixed. So I said, no. Well, they messaged me and said, you're just rude. So I replied back. I said, oh, I thought it was rude that I had 2 people yelling at me on a phone. I didn't hear from them then. So I don't know. I just, I don't know. This year's been strange. You on the Facebook group, the lawnmower repair group on Facebook? Nobody is saying, hey, I got this customer and I don't know how to work on it. I mean, that was almost nonstop last year, and you're not seeing it this year. And then there's, you know, I saw this post, some guy in Ohio, he says, you know, business has been really slow this year. But look at me. It's May 6th? And I got a coat on. It is cold. This is insane weather we're having. I just can't even understand it. And it's not going to warm up very much anytime soon, I don't think. I think every night gets down into the 40s. I mean, you got to think about this. In October, when temperatures get down to 40, we start the wood stove. We're not even using a wood stove. We're just using propane. I just can't even believe how cold it is. And it's raining. And they're still saying we're in a drought. It has rained 2 days straight now. We're in a drought. Well, everything is flooded. So if you'll click this up next box to take the video over to my other channel, I really appreciate it. Go check it out. So hope I can inspire you to say no so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.